Let's buff up, apply the defense down. We can increase attack as well. Let's see. Boom, big damage. Look at that. 637,000 damage. Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a showcase on Valkanen. I've built him up and ready to go to showcase him in all the areas of the game, and where I think he's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's the arenas and the Hydra. Okay, I don't really think he has a place in the dungeons unless you don't have anything else really. If you get lucky and summon him through a void, now that it's his 10x, well then yeah, you can use him and you don't have something else. But overall I think he's more of like a support, and I'll do that showcase more like the end of the video. But for now we're building him with damage just to see if he's really worth as a damage dealer in the team. But his kit is so unique that you might think otherwise going forward. So let's get started. The gearing overall that I've done on Valkanen is based around just savage gear and cruel. This gives me as much possible ignore defense on enemies, as well as a lot of damage. 280 on crit damage, 6.6k on his attack, with a little bit of speed. His speed is on the low end. I would like it to be a little bit higher because of his shorter cooldowns, especially on his sacrifice skill, his unique sacrifice skill. But for now, we'll building him like so. We didn't go at all on accuracy, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But I could see him being built with some accuracy and more defensively in the future. So let's get started. This is his gear. His skills are what make him so unique, right? So this is a very unique skill that he has, his A3, which basically you do it to kill one of your allies. Don't kill the enemies. Unfortunately, once I initially saw the enemy max HP, but it's really your team's max HP, because it completely will kill your ally regardless of whatever passive they might have. So think of that for a little bit. So you kill your allies, and then you immediately apply weaken and true fear on all enemies if you can. And this debuff cannot be resisted or blocked, but it cannot be placed on something like a stone skin, by the way. So have that in mind. So you won't be able to true fear a stone skinned enemy. The Malice Unleashed, his unique secret skill that unlocks with the sacrifice of your ally, is where things come into play and make him so unique as a damage dealer. That's why we're doing the damage showcase at the start. If the ally is dead, you just heal your champion by 50% of the ally's max HP. If the allies are dead, also unlocks the secret skill, so you will unlock it regardless. It's got a short cooldown of 3 turns, so you can keep on sacrificing your allies for this one. Whether it's worth it or not in longer fights such as Hydra fights, it's all up to you, but I think it will be, and I'll explain why when we get to that part. So going forward, let's see on his unique skill that unlocks. Okay, Malice Unleashed, that's where things become interesting. Before attacking, steals all buffs from the target, and this cannot be resisted. So this can come in handy on very buffed up enemies with high resistances, since you just ignore all the resistance basically and steal the buffs, and you attack with some multipliers in there that base on whether the enemy has higher attack than you. If you got lower attack, you will ignore more defense than usual, so you'll ignore extra 50% of the target's defense. There are some words whether this works as intended or not, but for the moment we'll just see on how it works actually in game. This attack will also ignore block damage and killable, shield, ally protection. Also places a block revive debuff if the target is killed. This is very interesting, since the block revive debuff is not something we have seen before as in attacks, right? We knew that it's a debuff when the hex came into play, especially with Yumiko, where she would basically transfer the block revive debuff and stops champions such as Mortu from killing your allies because of the hex. With that being said, this is a very strong skill in terms of the multiplier, and you see it in action a little bit. His A2 is also very unique, since it's an AoE attack but single target. So it single targets every single one of the enemies and does damage. I don't know why they would put it in these words, but whatever, it's still an AoE, but single target AoE. It works very well against Duchesses, since Duchess reduces damage taken from AoE attacks, so maybe that's why they wanted to specifically mention that into this one. So really helps putting extra damage on enemies. Also, he can apply hex debuff on all enemies for 2 turns and ignores enemies resistance by 20% for each dead ally. So if you've got a full healthy team, this doesn't really do anything. And And damage of the skill increases by 10% for each debuff on each enemy. This is very strong. This also increases depending on the amount of debuffs. So just imagine a fully debuffed enemy on how much potential this skill can have in terms of damage. But of course, this is not a usual case, especially in the arenas. Then his A1 finally just ignores shield buffs. This can be strong in the arenas and increases at a 60% chance the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. This can work on the clown boss, but I can't see it at the moment as something that you would do, and can apply a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies under the Hex debuff, which he also applies, as we mentioned before, right? So he applies Hex, and then he can also debuff spread debuffs such as decrease attack, decrease defense, any kind of debuffs other than Hex that you would have on your enemies, right? And then a cool passive that he has, there's an active part with a 1-turn cooldown, which is very short. So place a shield buff on this champion each time an ally or enemy champion dies. So this makes him very tanky through just shields based on the dead champion's max HP. Okay, this is very strong in the arena, especially if you can kill a tanky champion, a very high max HP champion. This shield buff cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred. And then basically the passive effect, right? Whenever an enemy hits this champion while they're under a shield buff, places a random debuff on the attacking enemy. So this can be really strong since it can apply True Fear, Freeze, Provoke, Petrification, Sleep, and Stun for 1 turn, or any of these random debuffs right here, except of course Sheep, Smite, or boss exclusive debuffs. So all the debuffs currently in the game, these can be applied. This is basically very unique because that's where I mentioned accuracy being something that you want to come into play when using this champion. And then masteries, I went for Helm Smasher here and some defensive masteries. Specifically here, we also have the Resurgent, helps with PvP situations. We also have Wrath of the Slain. Since you'll be killing one of your allies, this boosts your damage by 5%. And then we have the Deterrence. This is pretty cool when debuffs are applied on your team. Didn't go support, although you can go support and extend the debuffs that you can apply when hit, when you're under a shield. So you can have that in mind in more support type content. So let's get started with the showcase. We'll jump into the dungeons and I'll show you my special arena teams that I have in mind because of his very unique skill in a little bit. I forgot to mention that Valkanen also has a pretty strong speed aura for arena battles, so that's where he really will shine. If you accompany him with a team setup that doesn't have a speed aura, but you still want to go before the enemies and gain that 30% advantage, so have that in mind. We'll just do a general showcase. We're actually in stage 10 of the hard mode of Dragon, so we'll do that as part of the showcase. So what you really have to remember is that you sacrifice one of your allies for Valkanen's utility. Okay, so having that in mind, Valkanen should be lower speed than your ally that you want to be sacrificing, and also you want to have some revivers in your team because you're basically losing 20% or 25% of your team for just unlocking a secret skill. So have that in mind. You need revivers, maybe running double revive in certain situations because of him killing your own team, right? So let's buff up. We'll try to apply the defense down, weaken on the enemies here, and see his damage potential with the increased attack as well. So here we're gonna sacrifice Lydia, since she has done the decreased defense already. There's the True Fear, which is very strong, especially in PvP situations, but also PvE, honestly, because True Fear is a very strong crowd control effect. Not only just destroying a champion's cooldown, but also making the enemy lose their turn, which is just amazing. And then if you have something like a Sifi, it goes so well because Sifi can then revive with a full turn meter your ally that has died. But you know, of course, they lose their buff, so have that in mind. We'll just use a random skill here, and I just want to see Valkanen now with his very unique Malice Unleashed and see the damage potential there. So look at all the debuffs there. That's going to come in handy later when we do this, the Hex of Blades, since that increases your damage total based on the number of debuffs. So let's see the unique skill here, the Malice Unleashed, which honestly it takes a toll on your team, sacrificing one of your allies. Let's see. Boom, big damage. Look at that. 637,000 damage out of single skill. That can be quite amazing to consider. And look at all that shield that he has accumulated now. Very, very strong. And it really makes him you know, unique into dealing with a lot of situations, because consider him with the lesser gear. You don't need to do 600,000 crits. You need to do maybe 150,000 at most in PvP situations. So imagine with much less gear on the damage that he can still do with that very unique skill, and also you'll build him much faster, and having a fast support type champion that is also a big damage dealer, that is crazy to consider. So we'll see that in the end of the video. I'll try to change around the gear a little bit to see on how he does. So let's see with just 2 debuffs, defense down and weak, and also how much damage we'll do with the A to the hex of blades. Right, we'll apply the hex also, so that's an extra 10% damage that we will be doing here. He did about 100,000. I did not expect more than that, honestly. The reason for that is these are very, very tough enemies that we're fighting in the dungeons in hard mode 10. So 100,000, yeah, still a pretty big number to consider, but it's very unlikely that in PvP situations I'll be running defense down weekend combos, or I might even just land any debuffs because of you know, block debuffs buffs. All right, so let's see here. Let's do the A1 just to see the damage here from the A1 skill. 150k, and we also did like a debuff spread, right? So pretty cool, pretty strong overall. I think the shield part of his skill is what makes him to be really tanky at later parts, okay? Because there's no way that they can go through all of the shield. And in PvE situations also, the enemies have really high amounts of health, so you can consider that. So let's sacrifice our Lydia again, and yeah, let's do this just one more time. Look at that, 345k, 345k. But yeah, before 650k, just that's nuts. That's nuts. Anyway, let's go and have a look at him in the arenas. That's where I really want to show you guys on his true potential, since I have got a number of champions in mind that work with his passive. So one of the champions I wanted to show in the arena, but unfortunately did not exist on this account, was Nogdar, the Hand Hunter. I think there's like a cool combo between Valkanen and Nogdar that can exist, and let me just give you guys my idea. And if anyone out there has both of these champions, let me know, we can try it out maybe in a video. So look at this. Revive this champion with 50% HP and a full turn meter when dead if 3 or more allies are alive. So Valkanen goes, kills Nogdar on purpose, right? Nogdar dies, revives immediately with full turn meter, so you can have very slow Nogdar. You don't care about his speed, you care about his stats, his HP, since Nogdar is an HP damage dealer with attack damage dealing. So I'll show you this. This is his AoE attack that base his damage both on attack and HP. And then we also have his A3 skill, which is, this is what makes the combination of these two champions very unique. You're at 50% health. Let's say you've got one immortal piece, so that takes you a little bit higher than 50%, 53%, because you heal a little bit once you take that turn, that immediate turn, because of this, the full turn meter. So you're not at 50% anymore, you're at 53%. Then you sacrifice another 50% of that. Sacrifice HP equal to 50% of this champion's max HP, not current HP. Then equalizes HP levels with the target enemy. So imagine a 100% HP tanky champion against you, or whatever kind of champion, that will basically drop down to Nogdar's health, and then Nogdar will gain an extra turn. This will allow him to basically nuke down that enemy very quickly without really having to nuke him down. You're just bringing him down to your own HP. The HP levels of both this champion and the target enemy will be brought down to the level of the one with the lowest HP. Does not work against bosses. So both of these champions will drop very low, but Nogdar, we don't care, because we'll get that extra turn and we'll be able to do the A2, okay? And unfortunately, this will basically kill Nogdar, but it still will do a lot of damage, and you'll kill off the enemy. So this is like an interesting combination. And remember, you'll be running multiple revivers because of Valkanen and Nogdar together, and you'll be able to recover your team, but you'll be taking out enemies that can be very annoying and very tanky at the same time. So these are the 3 teams that I want to show now for the arenas, right? So these are 3 unique champions that have something to go along with dying in this fight. First one I want to show is Little Miss Annie. So Little Miss Annie, this was just a weird idea I had. Is she gonna be killing my team? when this happens, because look at this. Look at this. Basically, when revived, attacks the enemy that kills his champion with the default skill. So, is she gonna be attacking my own team when she is revived? Well, let's just go in and see how this goes on. But actually, it doesn't. Right? So, spoiler alert. I spoiled it already. It doesn't, but it's still funny to think about that. There is this weird combination of skills that you can do. So here we killed our own ally and then we revived her and she did nothing, of course, because no enemy killed her. It was our own ally. So that very unique passive did not proc. It's fine though. We'll be able to do just, you know, our skills as usual and just attack our enemies and take them out. The same thing with Valkanen. He has that, you know, Malish Unleashed now, of course, and look at that damage there, 235 plus the block revive. Works really, really well. So let's have a look at the other team that I had in mind. Next one up is Hefrag, right? So how would I use Hefrag in this team? Well, Hefrag has this. Whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates the Hefrag's Scorn skill. Will not put the skill on cooldown. There are multiple champions on the team with this skill. Only one will activate. So what are we doing? We're sacrificing one of our allies, not Hefrag, obviously, so that Hefrag will activate his very unique skill. And let's see what happens with this combo. So we go into the fight. There's that stupid hedge actually locking us out. So let me try a different fight. Okay, trying out this fight instead. The idea is we buff everybody. Let's see the enemy taking their own turns. We're gonna get attacked or something. Are we? No. Okay. It's all good. Get attacked a little bit. Here I'm just gonna do the A1. Don't want to sacrifice my A2, although that doesn't matter when he's got the passive. So let's kill off one of our allies. I think I'm gonna go with Duchess, since Sifi can immediately revive her. So see there, and unfortunately Hefrag doesn't work with this combo because Hefrag, well, it seems that it's coded that enemies have to kill your own team, although it's not specifically stated within his own passive. So Valkanen and Hefrag don't work together. If you have that in mind, fortunately, it's not going to work. But let's go and see the final showcase. And that's where that was very interesting with Valkanen in the team. And so the final showcase is Brackus with Valkanen, okay, in terms of the arenas. This is the very unique skill that Brackus has, where there's an active effect when he dies, revives his champion with 20% HP, and then immediately grants an extra turn. And that is what basically makes us build Brackus very slow. Built him very slow. You don't care about his speed, obviously. Just want Valkanen to sacrifice him. That will give Brackus immediately a turn, and then Brackus can attack, okay, and do his single target damage. Well, of course, single target damage is not that special in the game right now because of different things such as, let's say, UDK. So have that in mind. But yeah, you can attack 6 times, so UDK won't be that won't have that big effect. So let's go into the fight and see the interaction. But this time, it's better. It's better than the other 2 times. So here we boom sacrifice our poor Brackus. Even though we had speed boost, he was at full turn meter. Look at Brackus. He's up and running, ready to go. Unfortunately, doesn't have the buffs, but you can actually buff your attack on his own and then attacks one enemy 3 times. So you can actually do that if you want it. So we can attack one enemy 6 times if we want it as well. So what I'll do is, can I even go through that stone skin? I wonder. Yeah, let's just do this. Boom, you attack. Actually, I died. Wait, how did I die? Oh yeah, probably like a bomb from this guy, Gaius, and then that basically killed us. So can we steal the stone skin here with a unique skill with the Malish Unleashed? Let's see. No, we couldn't steal it. We could, I think it's like 50% chance anyway to steal. So probably that's what happened. So boom, revive Brackus again. He's gonna be ready to go. And let's see. Boom, 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 boom. There's the skill. So this is the combinations that you can do with Valkanen at the moment. But I think the Nogdar one is the most promising in terms of if you want to utilize these 2 champions together, you can have some fun stuff going. But I don't think it's going to be stronger than Taras and Mershka, stuff like that. So let's go and see him in the Hydra, and I'll give you guys my idea on how to build him a little bit better in terms of, you know, just overall gear. Alright, so let's go into the Nightmare Hydra and we'll have a look at the combo. I'm not going to do the full run, obviously, guys. Just want to give you guys an idea of what you can do with Valkanen in order to make your team basically unstoppable. The reason for this is the debuff here, the Devour debuff, okay? Which is currently on Acrisia. She's got the highest crit damage in the team. So what that basically does is once the 20 turns go through, my Acrisia will be devoured. What you do is you specifically sacrifice Acrisia before this happens. So you not only unlock your unique skill, but you also stop the devour from being activated and you won't have to worry about this. Of course, with this high damaging team, you won't have to worry about it anyway, okay? But it's still a very, very strong combo to consider when having Valkanen in there, since he's got multiple different situations where you can actually use that, and that will come in handy. Let's say you want to be sacrificing a champion, if they have multiple debuffs that can be nasty to your team and all that. So let's apply provoke here before things get nasty, and I want to see Valkanen's damage in action. Honestly, I don't think he would be useful in a relentless that much, although he does have like short cooldowns, like 3-turn cooldown for his big AoE. But let's have a look at his AoE damage here in action. In the Hydras, didn't do that crazy amounts of damage, honestly, but I'm guessing with his very unique skill, maybe you can ramp up the damage way more once you start sacrificing your own champions. So with Sifi, I wouldn't pair him with like in a Sifi team. I'll probably run like a double reviver if I would do this for the Hydra, very specifically because Valkanen will be, you know, dropping down your champions all the time, and that's not something that you want to have. So let's just see on how much damage he can do with his unique skill here on the Hydra heads. So he's void, so you won't have to worry too much about stuff like that. So I also want to see his damage on a head that's down, so we'll see that in a little bit. So boom, we sacrifice one of our own teammates. That's Mishinagi. That's fine. Let's see, can I drop this head before that happens? Maybe I could. Nasty heads there. Let's bring Mishinagi back to life. Do the provoke. Oh no, that's not the provoke. Actually, I want to keep the Malice Unleashed. Will that stay if I don't use it right now? I'm not sure. But let's see its damage without using it. 300k. That is very nice, very nice. It actually even triggered my Soul Reaper there. So now we can actually try out the damage potential there. So let's speed boost. Drop in some damage on the enemies here. Maybe if we can apply the defense down first. Let's see here how much damage this does. 260k. That's very strong. And there won't be any cap on his damage, by the way, on his A3. So try and see if I can get this head down so we don't get cleansed. Acrisia is hitting so well here. So turns in. It's very strong. I just want to get the sacrifice going so I can see it in action. It's kind of very slow for the Hydra. That's why everyone is like lapping around us, but it's fine. All right, boom. Let's kill off Mishinagi. Let's get some damage through. We have the defense down and weaken there. So let's see Acrisia. She's doing like 250k there on this head. Still nasty, but couldn't land the defense down. That head revived, but anyway. Ooh, maybe I can get Mishinagi to go before Valkanen. Nope. All right, let's try it out without the defense down. Let's see. A downed head, 167k. That's not a lot, actually. Wow. How much damage did that A2 do? That was quite good in terms of damage with just the defense down. So look at that. We're 5 minutes in. We're not being efficient at all in terms of how we're taking our turns and everything, but Yeah, let's remove some buffs. Let me take out this head. Alright, Valkanen, sacrifice Mishinagi again. I just don't like Mishinagi at all. Look at the revive here. Boom, again. Bring him back to life always. Yeah, let's do damage here on that guy. 148k. Nothing too crazy, but let's see our damage recap at the end, right? So we end the battle. Don't worry, I'm not gonna save the key, but look at that. Valkanen did like 3 million damage. Obviously, Acrisia is insane, but still, Valkanen with such low speed, no relentless, and he did pretty solid numbers, I would say. I'm gonna see the recap there on his damage potential, but overall, I think Valkanen has potential in the Hydra because of that very unique skill where he'll be sacrificing the champion that will be devoured to keep your team from having to worry about recovering that champion from the Hydra head that consumes it. And before I closed off the video, guys, I wanted to showcase Valkanen in like a different setup, right? I wanted to showcase him with like 250 speed, still 100% crit rate, but because we're running so much speed with 250, right? We can't really run Savage unless we have really good gear. And the idea is for him to become like a mixture of both a damage dealer, but also like a support. And especially if you're running something funny like with Brackus or something else, like you can run another support here. It really depends on what you want to be doing. If you're fine with just one damage dealer, then he might be able to pull through on his own. But I kind of doubt it if you are missing, especially if you're missing Savage, right? So let's have a look at the combo again. So here is like a pretty strong team against us. We'll go in and have a look and see how this goes. So lots of shields against us. Remember, we can actually ignore those with Valkanen. So what I want to do is, of course, I'll sacrifice Brackus, who is very slow. Remember, he's Brackus is like 150, speed 130, but full damage, right? 300% crit, stuff like that. So we sacrifice him. He gets immediately that turn. We also fear enemies and apply the weekend. So now with Brackus, we can also increase our attack, and that helps Valkanen if we didn't have like Duchess right in the team. So what I want to try is can we even kill something here? This Brackus is really a little bit underwhelming, honestly, but it fits with Valkanen, so I wanted to try it. We got True Feared, I think, there. So what I want to do is yeah, probably sleep Pythian since he can cleanse. And now can we kill off this? I don't think we'll be able to kill off Taras because Taras has that very unique skill where he limits our damage, but we'll see. See your damage potential there. Yeah, that special skill that he has basically stops us from doing damage. So here you see the stun. That's because of the shield on Valkanen. We don't have like a stun set or anything. That's just an unlucky stun that she receives. So here we'll actually be hitting Mortu with our AoE attack, but let's see on our damage potential here. Pretty stone. We killed one of the enemies there. Can we kill off? Of course we can. We're hitting him for 6k. Oh my god, he's so overpowered. Taras is just nuts. So let's kill off our Brackus again. Just I don't want to see him active at all. Unfortunately, we can't let him asleep because of how Hex works. I'm not gonna revive Brackus at the moment because I might need something else, but let's kill that Mortu off, or let's try with this kind of setup. Yep, there he is. There he goes. 100k crit is pretty solid. I would say wouldn't kill high-end Mortus, since high-end Mortus would have a lot more HP than that. They would have like 130k and still do a lot of damage. All right, so what is left to do here is just take them out, and that's basically gonna be the win for this one. But let's have a look at the A1 there, and there's the Soul Reaper for 1000 damage. That was basically clutch. So yeah, there's Valkanen with like a combo setup. I wouldn't really run Brackus here because he's obviously an underwhelming setup, but if I had Nogdar, I would probably do it. So yeah, guys, if you have him, let me know. We can probably do like a combo with Valkanen and have some fun, like a video. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.